Welcome to the Plant Grow Reap podcast.
Welcome to Plant Go Reap. I'm Simone and I'm here today with Chantelle. Chantelle is our compliance and corporate secretarial...
Wrong.
Try again.
Yeah.
How about you tell me what your role is? I don't think I'm going to get it right.
I actually don't remember what it's called. Compliance and Client Service Administrator.
Compliance and Client Service. There we go. And she'll be joining me today to discuss more about her role. So welcome. Thank you for coming today and thank you for having a chat.
Thank you for having me.
It's okay. So we'll kick it off with, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up working in your current role?
Yes, I can. It all started back when I was younger in school and I really liked maths. And my dad was like, "Oh, you should become an accountant." And I said, "Oh, yeah, sure. That sounds great. It involves maths. Let's do it."
Yep.
I didn't know what an accountant was.
Okay.
But I told everybody that, I aspire to be an accountant.
Yeah.
So,
How old were you at this stage, sorry?
I don't know, in primary school.
Primary school. Okay. Interesting goals for a primary school child.
Hey, when your dad tells you something, you listen. So, yeah. And then in high school, they gave you the option to do accounting as a subject.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that and I was like, this doesn't seem too bad. Let's keep going. In uni, did a Bachelor of Business and majored in accounting. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a lot. And then got a job at BGL, which is accounting IT software. So they've got SMSF compliance and corporate compliance. And I worked in support there. And turns out I actually hated accounting. So I went straight to the corporate compliance because I quite enjoyed, and that was something that I started to pick up quite fast. And then moved into an accounting firm and then started my journey as a corporate compliance. And then found my way at Aintree Group.
So for those listening who may not know what compliance and corporate secretarial work is, could you give a brief background on sort of your daily tasks, I suppose, and what you take care of at Aintree Group?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of corporate compliance, that's usually the compliance related for companies and trusts and how they are regulated by ASIC. So ASIC is the Australian Securities Investments Commissioner. And what I do is I help incorporate companies and trusts as well as self-managed super funds, and I help maintain the corporate registers and make sure ASIC is up to date at all times.
Okay.
And hopefully make sure people pay their ASIC bills on time.
Is that the only portion of your job, or is there something else that potentially required a little bit of training and understanding of how the ATO works when you first started with Aintree Group?
Great question. Everything I learned about the ATO was on the job, as well as with ASIC. It's just I got sort of thrown in the deep end and had to sort of figure it out myself and learn how to swim. And here we are. Now I do payment plans, register companies, trusts, individuals, self-managed super funds for any tax registrations, get their general interest charges remitted, and basically also manage the database.
Database or databases?
Databases. Thank you very much for that correction.
How many databases do you handle?
That is a very good question.
Shall we list them off?
Sure. Yeah. CAS 360.
Yep.
Xero Practice Manager.
Yep.
Does Xero Blue count because it's part of Xero? Just call Xero as one.
No, I feel like it's two because you have to maintain it in both, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, let's call it two.
Great. One more added to my responsibilities. Yes, so Xero Blue, Xero HQ.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought of that one. Yep.
Yeah. Simple Fund 360.
Yep.
The ATO portal.
Yep.
Account Kit.
We're slowly running out of fingers here, folks.
Sorry. Grow more fingers. FYI.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of integrates.
Yeah, it does.
It integrates. So I probably wouldn't say that.
Okay, we'll take one off.
Um,
I think that might be it.
that might be it.
7. That's a lot for one person.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd be able to do what you do.
I'm not sure I am either.
So in a typical workday for you, what does that look like for you? A typical week, a typical day, if you have a typical week or a typical day.
Chaos. That's what it looks like. Whatever tasks I have planned for the day, a lot of the times gets thrown out the window. Because I am the keeper of databases.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants me. And you can clearly see why, being friends with me for so long. Yeah, I get requests thrown at me throughout the day. Sometimes it's like super urgent and sometimes it can wait. But then the wait turns into it being super urgent because somebody else needs to get something done. So there's no real routine to my day. I try to come in and start with, I guess, looking at my emails.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, looking at an inbox about like web forms if people have any company or trust changes that need to be actioned. And then it's doing updates. And then during that time, I get interrupted. So it's just whatever.
I sit very closely to Chantelle in the office, and it is mind-boggling to me how you get any work done with the amount of interruptions you get. I just see it out of the corner of my eye and I'm like, oh my gosh, how have you done anything today? Like, it's just constant, like all the time.
Funny that's not what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to be like, oh, I see her all the time and she looks amazing. And I'm like, oh, thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say to everyone listening here.
No, I usually just tell you that in the morning and then we move on.
I don't think you say that at all.
So what are some of your passions and hobbies outside of work? How do you unwind and recharge?
Ooh. What do? I dance. So I used to do, back in the day, ballroom dancing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did it for about 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
And then you had to sort of compete as you went up. And I didn't have a partner. And I was like, this is too far from my house and I don't want to get up so early. So I stopped it. And then...
Sorry, just to go back to the ballroom dancing, was there a specific dance, like, I'm trying to think of dances in
Latin.
ballroom, like Latin dancing?
Dancing.
Okay.
So it was like a mixture of samba, cha-cha, and I can't think of anything else because it's been a while.
Do you have any videos of, like, competitions that you may or may not have done when you were younger in, like, ballroom dancing?
I think an uncle may have.
Okay. Can I get the contact details of this uncle?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
Because
maybe I'll just contact
that'll be really
Yep.
embarrassing.
It can be Friday afternoon drinks for the office and viewing for that. So you're doing your Latin dancing.
Let me put it this way. People nowadays have a lot of style and fashion. What I looked like when I did that, there was none of that.
Not style and fashion, no.
There was, I think this looks okay. Sure, let's try it on.
Yep.
But yeah, so I did ballroom dancing for a while. Then I did hip-hop, Afro beats, a bit of K-pop. Wouldn't recommend it unless you are really good at dancing because it is a lot of fast movements. And yeah, now I just, since I have injured my ankle, tore my ligament in South Korea, I haven't gone back to actual dancing in a class for a while. Now it's just sort of putting music at home and dancing in front of the mirror.
Is that something you'd like to get back into once your ankle's healed and back to normal?
Yes, I would. But it's also a matter of trying to find the class again.
Okay.
Because a class that I used to do, which was called Boogie Series, was one run by this lady, and she was just an amazing human being. The class was majority females, but it was just the energy everyone brought, and everyone was just hyping everyone up, and it was a great class to be in. And even when you felt, excuse my French, pretty shitty, and you'd rock up to that class, everyone's spirits would sort of lift you up as well. So she went off to the UK, so she no longer does her classes.
Yep.
And that was probably the last class that I went to.
Okay, so it's finding not only the class but the similar kind of vibe that she brought.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. You mentioned you travelled to South Korea when you mentioned your ankle. Are there any other places that you've travelled that have left a lasting impression?
Probably none as great as South Korea. And I'm not just saying this because I watch a bunch of Korean dramas, which is also part of my unwinding. Maybe Japan.
Okay.
Japan was great. I think that's mainly because of the food that I ate was phenomenal. I would recommend, if you like Japanese food, to go there. But no, I would say Korea was probably
Korea and
my
Japan.
favourite place.
Yep. Is there potentially another reason why South Korea was your favourite place to have travelled?
Yes, there is.
Why would that be?
I got to live a K-drama moment. So I went with my now fiance to South Korea during cherry blossom seasons.
Beautiful.
Yes, and it has been a dream since I started watching Korean dramas, to be there when the blossoms are falling, and because you see it in the drama all the time, and it's like, oh, this is a romantic moment. Yeah. And they said there's like the story that when you're walking and if you catch a petal, that means you found your soulmate.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I was there with my now fiance, and I was walking, I put my hand out, a petal fell. And I was like, oh my God, I found my soulmate. And then I told my fiance to do the same. He didn't get anything. So I was like, maybe I found my soulmate, but you didn't find yours. And yeah, during the trip, he then took me to a Hanok village, which is just a sort of Korean traditional styled housing. And he was like, oh, look, there's like the last tree that's still in blossom, because in terms of the cherry blossoms, when they come about, they don't stay for very long.
Short season.
Yeah. So it started raining there, and all the rain took out majority of the blossoms. And yeah, we found a bridge, and he's like, oh, let's take a photo. And I was like, oh, look at this guy. He's going to take a photo of me? Great. And as I went to go look at the tree and I looked down, he was kneeling there. And as he was kneeling with a ring in his finger, I was like, and it was just complete silence for about 2 minutes.
So he got the words out eventually, I assume.
Yeah, he said, do you want to spend the rest of your life with me? And I still gave him silence. And then he's like, are you going to say yes? And I was like, oh, yes.
I forgot about that part.
Yes. Sorry. I was still registering what was happening in my head. Didn't feel like a real moment. So yeah, that was another experience that added to why Korea is so great.
The specialness of the trip.
Yeah.
And he went above and beyond. He organised a photographer to capture this special moment without your knowledge. So you've got some beautiful photos of the moment where he asked you to marry him.
Yes, he did.
Which is beautiful.
And the funny thing about that is when he was talking to the photographer that he organised, he was messaging them throughout. And it was funny because he was with me the whole time. So he was trying to be really secretive about, texting people.
So you thought he was messaging his other soulmate that wasn't you because he didn't catch the petal in his hand?
Yeah, honestly, that thought didn't cross my mind. I was tired. I was tired and I was sleeping for majority of what I could. But that's a good theory that I should have thought about. No, but when he did message the photographer, the guy was concerned because he had to sort of share his location, so he knew where we were at the time to obviously take photos. And the photographer got concerned because he's like, you're really close to North Korea, because we at that time he was messaging, we actually went to like near the border of South Korea and North Korea to like see the tunnels, which is really claustrophobic.
Okay.
Oh my god, the tunnel we visited went down quite deep, and it was at like a 45 degree like angle.
Oh wow.
So it was, easier to go down, but to then come up was a pain, because it just
So you actually went into the tunnels?
went into the tunnels.
Oh wow, okay.
Obviously there was a door where at some point they sectioned it off, so you can't go any further.
Yep.
But it was wild to experience that.
Another question that we may or may not end on, depending on what else we come up with in this. It's much tamer than I assumed this was going to be, which is surprising. Who are the most important people in your life, and how have they supported your personal and professional growth?
That's a really good question. I would say, I feel like I have to say my fiance, because that's going to be quite rude.
You don't have to, but it's a nice thing to do.
All right,
Yeah.
just because it's nice. Let's throw him in there. My fiance, my parents, sibling, and the friends I've made at Aintree Group. It really shows when. Oh, sorry. Let me rephrase that. It really makes a difference when you create bonds with people that you work with at work, because they just make the day a lot more. I was gonna say bearable. That sounds a bit. I'll change that. They make it more fun.
Yeah.
They bring out the banter. If there's anything that I quite enjoy, it's bantering with people. Just for a good laugh.
Yeah, you are definitely the only person in the office who has multiple nicknames for everyone. And it's very interesting to hear the different nicknames you come up with for people. But it's nice to see the deeper connection that you make with these people. Like, it's not just, I need to speak with you to get something done. It's how was your trip? How was your wedding? How was this? How was that? And it's you do have that deep connection with a lot of people in the office. So it's really nice to see that. And I think a lot of people have that with you as well, which is lovely.
Oh, stop it. My head's already big. But keep going. Go on. What else?
Oh, gosh, on the spot. I don't know. I really enjoy that you started facing your fear of the coffee machine in the office, and you started making me coffees in the morning, which is really lovely.
Yes, you were not there when I made it screech for like the whole time. And I was very concerned that people could hear that. And I was like, oh, I clearly did not do this right.
Based off previous experience, I can definitely guarantee that people heard that. And in their minds, they would have been like, oh my Lord, she is butchering that. But nobody is game enough to say it and come up and be like, hey, you actually need to do this. So
no,
I wouldn't stress too much.
Because for someone to do that, they need to know how to do it. And what if they're the same?
That's a very good point. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's been wonderful to have a chat with you.
Yes, I've missed you all day. I haven't seen you since the morning.
Yes, it's very odd. It's sort of joined at the hip a bit, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not allowed to take leave without notifying me first.
Oh.
Just put that out there.
Coming from you, you've had 4 holidays. You've had 2 holidays, two booked in the future. I've taken leave for my wedding, and that's all. And I'm getting heat about taking too much annual leave. Doesn't work that way, mate.
It's not my fault you don't travel.
Again, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll wrap it up there. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.